Kia ora and welcome to Wellywood Wargaming. I've got another special guest with me today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Tabletop Warjames.
Tabletop Warjames, also another YouTube creator and Necromunda enthusiast, among other things. But we're just going to chat shit like we did the other day with MGM. I'm going to do a series of these really, but it's nice to get people of influence like yourself on here just to discuss the hobby and all sorts of things. So I'll start with the first question. So how did you get into this, and what's your wargaming background? And
So I've been involved in the hobby. I mean, I'm still classed as a newbie. I've been in the hobby about 8, possibly 9 years now. I'm trying to think when I first started playing. I played a little bit of 6th edition, 40k, and then 7th edition dropped. And then that's pretty much me. Then I was Heresy after that. I played Heresy for the last 8 years, up until recently. I've dabbled in the new edition. I don't particularly like it, so I've switched over to Necromunda, and I'm never going to look back.
Good stuff. What, just out of interest? I mean, I don't play Heresy myself, but I've had a look at it. But what is it you don't like about the new one compared to the old one?
I don't know, because basically it's the same game. The reactions, I'm not keen on it, because to me it's like the stratagems in 40k. Again, I don't like the stratagems in 40k, which is one of the main reasons I don't play 40k, is because I think I don't know, it takes up too much time in the game, and there's too much, like every army has like 50 stratagems, and
it seems to be across a lot of books as well.
I mean, we can't say that about Necromunda.
True. That's different.
But yeah, it's that, and a few other things. But I mean, the online community is not the greatest, but in person they're amazing. Like, if you meet people from the community, they are absolutely amazing, and you'll go to some of the best events you've ever been to playing Heresy, because everyone is full on Heresy, and it's amazing. But the online community doesn't show the true community, if you get what I mean. So, but yeah, I've separated myself from that sort of side of it now. I just talk to the people I like.
Cool.
So,
and you mentioned just before, you just mentioned that you were part of a podcast for a little while as well.
I was part of the Heralds of Heresy podcast. There was a group of 4 of us. It was myself, Jamie, Matt, and Richard. We actually met at a Heresy event called Greetings from the Warp in the UK. It's quite a big event that's run, one of the best events you could ever go to, so shout out to them as well. Greetings from the Warp. They put on amazing events, and we met there. They do like an innuendo sort of bingo sort of thing, where they do bingo questions, and you win prizes and stuff at the end of the night. We all got drunk, we all became really good friends, we still are good friends. And then we done that for about a year and a half, and then COVID hit, and then obviously nothing was really coming out Games Workshop wise for Heresy and things like that, so it sort of just died off, and we never really got back into it. And then they dropped 2nd edition, and 3 of us don't play Heresy anymore, so we sort of knocked it on the head.
So Necromunda's your main jam now then?
I mean, believe it or not, I've only been playing Necromunda a year next month.
Really? Did you play the original iteration of the game back in '95 or anything?
Nope.
No. Maybe I'm just older than I look.
I bought the Escher and Goliath box when it dropped in 2016.
17, I think.
17. So I bought that new box where you got the bulkheads and things like that with it. Never done anything with it. It literally went under this desk here. Well, I didn't live here then, but it went under my desk at the time, and never saw light of day. And then I wish I got into it sooner. I really do. It's such a good game.
It really is, isn't it? I mean, easy one to the next question. I think it's a pretty obvious answer, really, because of the background right behind you there. But I was going to ask you what your favorite part of the hobby is.
It's the world building.
Right. Okay.
I love I love creating. I mean, I'll just grab one of these. It'd be easy to show you, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're
good.
going to see it.
So good. Yeah, you can see that pretty well.
But yeah, I love building scenery. This is my jam. I've always, whenever we've got into something, I'm normally the one in the group that will go and buy all the scenery and build the scenery, and then I'll quickly put an army together at the end, just because I want everyone to have something cool to play on, and this is what I love doing. I mean,
an asset to every gaming group.
It is. I mean, it's not the bad side is that I have to spend a lot of money.
Yeah. Do your mates and your other members of the group sort of chip in a little bit and help out painting stuff, or do you want full control of it all?
So I like with this is all me. But now our Necromunda group currently is about 5-6 core players, and then it's slowly getting bigger and bigger as time goes on. I mean, we're about to start a new campaign in January, which is going to be like a forever campaign which never ends. So we're just going to do big blocks, but every little mini campaign we do is part of this bigger campaign, and it all just knits together. So we're not playing it all the time. There's like, you play a little bit, and then the next bit will happen 2 or 3 months after that, so you don't get burnt out, sort of thing. But yeah, that's taken a lot to plan. But yeah, no, normally I'm the one that builds the scenery and stuff. I even paint stuff for the local shop and things like that, because I just love building and painting the scenery. It's the real big part of the hobby that I love. But yeah, recently my friends are starting to build their own tables. They're asking advice about how to build things. But then I'm still the one that paints it. So I always end up painting everyone's stuff.
Well, you're obviously a huge inspiration to the community out there, because your scenery building is amazing, man. Like, I'm no scenery guy. It's not really my thing, but it will have to be if I end up moving to Australia and starting my own little group. I probably will be the scenery guy. So, yeah, I'll be taking a lot of tips from you, that's for sure, and watching a lot of your videos.
I do appreciate that. Yeah, I can never get over when people say stuff like that, and I don't know if you're the same, but I never know what to say. Like, I never know how to reply to people saying like I'm an inspiration and things like that. I just I never know what to say.
Like, it's gonna happen. I mean, naturally, if you're gonna be creating content on YouTube that people enjoy, then of course it's going to be of great value to lots of people. So you've got to understand that it does, even though it might seem like a small thing that you're doing, and you're probably first and foremost doing it for yourself. But it's just an added bonus that you're getting other people hooked as well. And I think the scenery stuff is very engaging, and like you said, the world building that comes with the scenery and terrain building that you do it's got a lot of character and a lot of personal input into it. So really cool to see.
I've been working on, I say, this table now. I've been working on since it was end of October last year was when I started it. But I finished a 3x3, but then it wasn't finished because then I discovered my favorite product in the world, which was Dirty Damn Rust.
Mate, I still haven't got any. I'm gonna have to get that. Can't get it here in New Zealand, but
I mean, if I can get a sponsor with this stuff, I'll be
I just so much of it. You're the first person I saw using it, actually, and I was just blown away by how amazing that product is. Like, there's a few key products that I use on my miniatures because I paint a lot, but that looks like something that is an absolute game changer to me.
Combine it with get these 2 products. I mean, that's AK Interactive Corrosion Texture and Dirty Damn Rust. Those 2 mixed together is like talent 10 times over in a bottle. Like, it's so good, because this stuff almost dries like a brownie clear color. But it gives you that sort of
foundation to it.
Yeah, so when rust starts to lift and flake and bubble, it sort of gives you that, but in miniature scale enough, if you get what I mean. It's and then this is so good. I mean, I've just picked up the verdigris as well. They do a moss. Cool. They do a moss as well, which I'm going to try and pick up, but it just, as soon as it gets in stock anywhere, it's sold out.
Yeah,
so I bet. Be quite quick.
Well, hopefully that's a good sign of the future, and that they'll keep on going and releasing more products and stuff, because I was just worried that it was really obscure and I'd never be able to get hold of it again, but if there's a demand for it, then
they do that little bottle, and then they do like a massive 440 milliliter bottle. But it's like 60 quid. Right. Or 60 pounds, as I say.
120 or something over here, which is crazy when you think about it. I mean, Games Workshop stuff in general is sort of like I think 3 or 4 times the amount of Games
Never,
Workshop stuff in the UK.
never got that.
It's
No,
bananas, man. Honestly,
we won't go into that.
nah, not at all. My next question for you is a fun one, and
Excuse me.
it's a hard one as well. But what is your favorite gang in the game of Necromunda?
I mean,
you have to pick one.
I mean, my first gang for Necromunda was Slave Ogrins,
Right, yeah.
which are a beginner-friendly gang, but they're also not a beginner-friendly gang because they pretty much cut you out of one part of the game completely because they can't shoot.
Yeah,
they have one gun that you can shoot, and that is it. They can't take anything out of the trading post. They can't take anything off the black market.
Well, they can now. That's been errated, I think. So
have they done that? I'll have to double check.
Or at least we have. But
okay.
And you can chuck a lot of grenades as well. But yeah,
that's what they're good at. Incendiary grenades.
Yeah.
15-inch throw. Perfect. But yeah, Slave Ogrins. I'm falling in love with the new squats, the prospectors.
Well, your logo's a squat, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Your new logo. It's you as a squat.
I have just received another little symbol, a new sticker as well, because I'm slowly compiling like a sticker collection together. That's the plan anyway.
Oh, very cool.
But yeah, no, yes, probably squat prospectors, because whenever I play something like Warcraft or anything like that, I'm a dwarf every time, so it's sort of what I like. So yeah,
you identify with dwarves.
I identify with dwarves. Yeah.
Good stuff. So the next question I've got for you is obviously again with the terrain, I suppose. But the thing that I struggle with is I'm quite good at being creative with my miniatures and stuff, but when it comes to terrain, I find it hard to. I don't know. I find it harder to engage with the creativity side of things a little bit and get a bit stuck with ideas. But how do you plan out, and what's the design process of your stuff, or is it just very fluid and natural? Do you actually plan these tiles out that you've been doing, or is it? How do you do it?
So I started out planning. I planned the gate tile that I've done with the pool in front of it. There's like a big double gate that I've done. I planned that tile out. It did have an extra bit on the front, but once I planned it out and started building it, I took that bit off to leave the front wide open. Out of this whole table, I've probably planned about 3 of the tiles.
Oh, right.
The rest have just been me sitting down here with a box of stuff. Like I'll build the basic components, like I'll build the columns, I'll build the walls as they are, and then obviously they're like a Lego kit, aren't they? And then you start. The one thing I do all the time is I've got like super thin super glue, and I will put little tacks in corners, just enough just to hold it in place while I just work it out.
Because then a dry fit sort of thing. Yeah,
if you don't like it, then you can just break it off, clean it off, and it's done. So it's literally like the smallest. Sometimes I'll even use like a I don't know what people call them. We call them cotton buds over here, but Q-tips people call them, don't they? I think. Yeah. So I'll take something like this. I will cut this bit off and just use the stick just to dip into the super glue, and then just put a dot, just to tack stuff together. See if it works. I'll build it up. Unless you do like a big. I mean, this is my biggest mistake here. I was drunk one evening. I started building a tile, and I don't like it, and I can't do anything with it because it's all been plastic glued. So
yeah, right. I mean, you probably could prise it apart, but it's going to be a bit of work, isn't it?
I've started to, but it's like it's damaging it and things. So this will probably get used later on for something that's like keep everything you cut off as well. Anything you cut in half, anything you cut in bits, and that chuck it in a bucket, chuck it in a drawer, keep it, because you'll be like, oh, that bit there will work here, and things like that. But yeah, 9 times out of 10 now, I don't plan tiles. The only thing I do plan is stuff like the little shops that I'm doing and things, because these are a bit more. There's a bit more thought process in this, because there's like a basic construction that you can do. And then it's just basically cutting things to fit and things. Most of the stuff is just I sit with a couple of boxes of stuff, I clip it all out, glue it together, and then just piece it together. And then, oh, that looks cool. Then I'll take it over to the table, will it match in, move the tiles around to see how many configurations it'll work in. And then it'd be like, okay, if I add this piece here, then it'll work with that tile, and that tile if it's spun this way and that way.
That's cool,
so it's sort of, it's yeah. So the beauty about this table as well is because it's all 1x1 tiles. It's sorry, I'm putting the other tile down. I've made it so that the walkways will line up. Oh, sorry, I'm going all blurry. So when you turn it 90 degrees, the walkways will line up with another tile in a different way, sort of thing. So even though it's one table, you've got like 50 different layouts on a 3x3 table, sort of thing.
The other thing is, of course, like when you're building these tiles, are you thinking about playability as well, like how it's actually going to play in the game? Because that's obviously going to be a huge problem if you end up making a tile that's overly complex or whatever. And it's hard to get around in the game.
When I'm building, I always have one of my Ogryns because they're some of the biggest models that you can have, apart from the Ambots and the Arachnarig, which are quite large. I think the only other bigger model is the new Squat, the Exo Driller thing.
Oh yeah, he's massive.
I think he's quite big. But I will always have a couple of different size models so that I can place them on the tile, place them on the walkways and things, just to see what gaps and that we've got, what lines of sight as well is another big thing.
That's huge.
So building the rough tile, putting it next to the other tiles, and then just looking around the table, like walking around the table for 20 minutes or so, just being like, oh, okay, I can shoot there, and then move the tile somewhere else, and you're like, oh, well, that shuts off that line of sight, that shuts off that. I'm always thinking about the playability, definitely, all the time.
The other thing is, obviously, I'm quite new to Sector Mechanica's scenery. I've had prior to this, I've had lots of just homemade wooden and plastic and cardboard crap, just junk builds basically. But now that I've finally got into the plastic side of things and I'm loving it, I haven't actually committed to actually building any tiles yet. I want to follow suit with what you're doing, but at the moment, obviously, I don't have the space for it and stuff because I'm going to be moving. I probably will do that. But there are ever times when you kind of do that, you make the tiles and they're all fixed down? Do you ever kind of wish that you hadn't glued it all together and that you've got a bit more modularity, or is it kind of fine how it is?
So
I mean, storage as well is the key there.
Yeah, the storage is the key. I mean, behind me here, I mean, this is full of up with like I've got my mounting boards and all like my kites, because I do kite power kites and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
They're all going. I've got a plastic shelving unit that's going to go there, and all the tiles will store on that. But they also fit. There's one size of the really useful boxes that is 2 foot wide and it's just over 1 foot deep. So you can fit 2 tiles in side by side, flat in the bottom, put a bit of board across the top of those, and then you can actually almost get 4 tiles in a box.
Oh, that's cool.
Which I found, I mean, you can't put a lid on it, but you can fit 4 tiles in a box, which makes it easier to carry if you're transporting it and things like that. But no, I used to do the highly modular stuff all the time, but I got sick of losing things.
And it's a lot to set up, isn't it? It takes a while to set it all up in the first instance, and then change the table around and stuff as well.
So here we can literally grab it off the shelf. Okay, we're going to do a 2x2 tile called grab 4 tiles, chuck them down, done.
Yeah.
That's all we've got to do. And then a little bit of scatter where I've got barrels and that piled up and things, so we can just drop them in, change lines of sight and things like that. The only other thing I want to do with this is I want to buy a box of the walls and columns, build them and paint them as they are, but leave them loose, so that if you have got an area that you don't want, drop a column in it or drop a wall in to block that section off. But it still locks in with the existing stuff, because you've got all the plastic GW stuff now all keys together, doesn't it? All the ZM stuff, which is great. So you want that corridor blocked off, cool, drop a wall section in and it will shut that section off like completely.
Cool.
Things like that.
So where do you get your inspiration from for the, obviously, you know, like you're doing it, you said you're sort of doing it as a creative sort of organic process, but are there any other YouTubers that have kind of got you to where you are? Like, are you watching other people's content and looking at Instagram and stuff to get ideas as well?
I mean, everyone loves Rapid Tabletop. He sort of put me on. Well,
is that the Canadian? Is that the Canadian guy?
I can't remember his name. No, I can't remember where he's from.
Or is that Leonard Dime? I can't remember. There's a few.
Oh no,
Isn't
is Leonard? I think
Leonard's
I can't
Swedish
remember.
guy. Swedish guy, I think.
Possibly, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he, when I started building this, I didn't know he was around.
Mm.
And then I built my first like 3 tiles, and then I discovered his channel, Rapid Tabletop, and started watching that. And he builds his stuff off of the cardboard Zone Mortalis tiles.
Oh yeah, that is Leonard. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
cool.
so
I'd love to get an interview with him at some point.
yeah, so he's like disappeared off the face of the earth on YouTube at the minute. He's not posted anything up recently, so I don't know what's happened there. But yeah, so I got loads of inspiration from him with doing his stuff, because he went with the double wall sections and things like that. And I was like, oh, that's actually really cool. Which is the main thing I've done with this. Solvince,
Yeah,
absolutely
he's
amazing
He's
builder
incredible.
and converter. Is it BJ? Oh, what's his name? 2 seconds, I can look him up. Can't remember his name.
There's a few, but Solvince seems to be the almost legendary name in terrain building,
Yeah.
doesn't he? Like everybody goes to him.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many. I mean, excuse me. I actually quite like Zorpazorp as well. I know he doesn't do Necromunda, but he's doing his massive like Gondor builds and things like that, which
very
sort of
cool.
pushes me to go bigger with this. And I just like, but it all comes down to money at the end of the day, doesn't it? So
certainly does. Yeah, it's not going to get cheap for me, that's for sure.
Find someone that will do you a great deal and buy it all from them.
Well, to be honest, it's actually cheaper for me to buy things from the UK than it is from New Zealand at the moment. So, and get it shipped over. So,
oh, wow.
not that I do that, not that I'd ever do that, of course, but you know, I'm just saying.
Theoretically, well, I'm going to Forge World in January, so if there's anything you want from Forge
yeah,
World,
man, yeah, absolutely. The other question I was going to ask you, obviously, is, you know, you're quite young in your YouTube content. You haven't been. How long have you been going on YouTube? Not too long, right?
Probably about 5 years.
Have you? Oh well, I mean, like, so in terms of like doing what you're doing now, obviously.
Recently, yeah. So my Tabletop Warjames has existed for, I think, about 5 years. And I used to do loads of random content. I mean, I used to cover Drop Zone Commander. I used to cover Age of Sigmar when that dropped. Heresy, obviously, as well. And I sort of was just like very sporadic with what I was doing. No real release schedule. No real.
Yeah.
There was no structure to it, if you get what I mean. And recently, I'm like, I want to do something with it, because I see the reactions that the stuff gets when I post it up on the Necromunda terrain builders and things like that, and people chatting about it, and people tagging me in things and things like that. And I'm like, well, that's cool. This is amazing. The community is amazing. And I was like, I want to give something back to the community. So I thought I should have started it when I started building the table.
Yeah.
But I'm a bit late to the party with that, because it's almost done. And I wish I recorded the building process of it. But I didn't, because I'd already built it and things. So, but yeah, I've only really been doing the videos properly for August this year.
Yeah.
And really getting into it, trying to release a video once a week. I mean, I'm doing the tile talk series at the minute, where I'll go over every tile and talk about the kits that I'm showing you the kits that I've used and the final product and what it will look like once you've sort of built it. That's
the stuff I've been really into watching, that's for sure. So what's going to be the future for your channel then? What are you gonna just keep on the terrain tip, or are there going to be more avenues that you're going to explore within the hobby?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing the terrain. I'm gonna the next series I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go from start to finish of planning out one of these to building it. So drawing the plan, building it, painting it, weathering it, and then just taking you from the first step to the final step. Just so you sort of, because these containers, they're probably the best kit the GW ever made. Like they're
I don't own any. I need to get some. I just got the Underhive
good.
Market yesterday, so I want to get some of those to do exactly the same thing. So I might just follow suit and join you on that build as well. So
like literally, I've just bought a box of containers and a market kit, and obviously out of that box of containers I can build 3 of these, which is going to be great. I mean, one of them might be for something else, but yeah, I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do that yet, but I won't say anything because it's
yeah. Oh,
but yeah, cool. yeah, so predominantly going through the scenery, but I would like to do maybe some battle reports or something. Possibly, I don't know. It's working out how to film it and getting people involved and things. So I mean, two of my best friends, they play, and we play regularly between each other. Probably once a week, if not twice a month, maybe, that we play, because we all work full-time jobs as well. So it's difficult finding the time, especially when I'm on call as well for work. That just takes the wind out your sail when we're playing a game and I get called out and sorry, I've got to go.
I when I work from home, it tends to be when I get all my hobby stuff done, to be honest. But I actually work 6 days a week, but I don't know how I'm managing to put out about bloody 10 videos a week at the moment. But everybody's like, how do you do so many videos? I honestly, I'm just a very, very, very driven person, and I'll just get shit done. I can't sit around doing nothing. Very impetuous.
And they're great. I mean, if I'm I mean, I watch your videos or listen to your videos while I'm at work, because I'll be like, oh, what can I do? I'll have my headphones in. I'll be painting like an empty room that we've got in one of our properties, and I'll just have my headphones in and be listening to like the gang videos that you do.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm currently like looking at starting an Orlok gang. So I've been listening. I've been literally watching your.
Well, that's the longest.
Today.
I think that's the longest video I made. Actually, it's really long, that one, but. No, thank you. Yeah, I think the idea with those ones for me was that kind of almost like a YouTube podcast, that people would probably just listen to them rather than actually watching them. But because a few people are like, why don't you do a podcast? It's like, I just want to stay on the one platform, I think, but it works pretty well. So what the other question I got for you, just quickly, because we're heading towards the end of this now, is what advice have you got for people getting started in the hobby, and particularly with the terrain, obviously coming from your angle? Do you have any advice for noobs getting into it?
Don't be afraid to ruin things. I know this is horrible, because if you're just getting in, you don't want to spend a lot of money. But you can pick up bargains on eBay and things like that. I mean, that's where I get a lot of the bits and pieces, like the Into Dark scenery. I didn't really want the models in it. I wanted the scenery. So eBay, even Amazon sells stuff like that now. Or local stores and things like that, or friends and things. Just don't be scared to try things as well. Like, as I said, tack stuff together so you can pull it apart and things like that. But yeah, just don't be afraid to try something different. It might work, it might not. Whatever you do, you're going to learn from it. So I mean, this is the second table I've built of this stuff, because I've done a Zambatalis for Horus Heresy, and I learned so much in that first build and made so many mistakes that I was like, cool, I won't make those mistakes on this one.
Cool.
And just listen to people as well. Don't look at real things in around your world and the real world, and you'll see something you like and be like, oh, that would be cool if I put that on the table. And reference photos and things like that. Don't just everything's a Necromunda model as well. So
exactly.
I mean,
it really is.
Like this, for instance, Caradron Overlord bits on here and the stuff.
Used a few of those.
Everything's like usable. Don't be afraid to try it.
Awesome. And last question: what's your favorite Necromunda miniature of all time? Single miniature.
Single miniatures. I quite like the Squat Ammo Jack.
Oh yeah, he's cool. Ragnar.
He's quite cool. I think he's sitting up on my shelf up there. But he's probably my favourite, I think. But then I quite like the what's his name? The Rogue Doc, the Arachna.
Oh yeah. I haven't got either of those actually.
Yeah, I've built and painted the Doc. I can't remember his name. But he was a lovely model to paint, because he's very easy to paint, because he's just got a big cloak. The lacquer quite easy to paint anyway. But
they're great, so great.
But probably the Squat Ammo Jack is probably my favorite.
Awesome.
So
cool. Well, I think that's pretty much that.
I appreciate you having me.
But yeah, it's been a pleasure, man. Hope you have a pleasant evening, and let's stay in touch, definitely.